Hi everyone and welcome to Inderes TV. Today we're going to take some quick notes on Fiskars Q3 performance with Analyst Rauli Juva. Welcome.
Thank you.
Last time we met, we were talking about Fiskars. We said better than expected many times, but now in lines with expectations.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Q3 sales was both in line with last year and in line with our expectations. The earnings were actually a bit below our expectations, but in line with last year. And then more importantly, I would say that the guidance was intact. So they continue to guide for a improvement in the adjusted EBIT for the full year, even though they are 1 million behind for the 9 months cumulative figures. So that obviously implies that they should do at least some improvement in the Q4, and we are, expecting only a few million improvement, or were expecting already prior to Q3. So it's around last year's level most likely if the Q4 is not a huge positive surprise. So that was kind of comforting that they should have quite a good visibility at this point of the year for the remaining months. So I would assume will be able to land at least last year's levels or a bit above.
So you're confident that they're on track?
Yeah, they should be more or less on track with that. Like we have written in the reports for quite a while, we wouldn't be surprised if they would downgrade it to say last year's level, but that's pretty much in the expectations already. So around that or a bit above, that's not so important in the bigger picture, I would say.
Yeah. So, but Fiskars is now facing a weaker market. Yeah. So what's your take on this? What's the survival plan?
Yeah. I don't know if they did a survival plan as such. They are doing quite okay, but definitely they do need to work harder to fight the toughening market, and that was definitely visible already in the Q3, especially in Northern Europe already, that the inflation and all the weak consumer confidence here is hitting them negatively here, but luckily they are a global company, and US is doing fine, and of course the Asian markets is not affected that much, not affected of course at all with the European energy crisis, and not that affected perhaps with the inflation in general, but basically the plan is to continue executing their own strategy, continue kind of improving their effectiveness, focusing on the areas where they can grow and take the most out of that, and continue building their own retail network, which is important both for the profitability and for the brand recognition. So I think that's on a good track, but of course they cannot kind of completely dodge the weakening market, since more than 80% of their sales is in US and Western Europe.
Yeah. What about the China segment? It's small and but still growing. So how is that affected? I mean, the country.
Yeah,
China.
That is still quite small in absolute numbers, and not that relevant in the whole group, but it's definitely important in the kind of light of their strategy that it's in the Vita segment where most of their own retail is, and they are particularly in China and Asia expanding through their own retail. So that's kind of important for the strategy execution, and that's going well despite all the COVID lockdowns which they still have there. So both for the Q3 and for the 9 months, the growth was actually around the same, 35% in China. So quite nice growth, but from a low base, obviously.
Yeah, from a low base, yeah. But Fiskars was one of the companies that were boosted by the COVID pandemic. But you said that it's actually in better shape now. And then they have done a lot of things to improve their own operative work. So could you shed some light on that?
Yeah, sure, definitely they are in much better shape. If we think, like I would think that Q3 is not anymore affected by at least much support from the kind of COVID trends. So that if we look at the EBIT, for example, they did over 30 million now in Q3 this year, and in Q3 19 they made around 10 million. So there's a huge
huge
really
improvement.
Huge improvement. So obviously there's something else has been going on as well. And if we go back a decade or 15 years, basically, Fiskars has done a big work in transforming them into a pure consumer goods company, and also buying in companies. And perhaps the most important for this comparison, if we look to 19, is that they bought this one company called WWRD at that point in was it 16, 17, and that went pretty badly then for the first years under Fiskars, and they did quite heavy restructuring rounds for a couple of times during like 17 to 20, and now it seems that during the past few years, at the same time that COVID probably supported that a bit on the demand side, but they have definitely also improved that Vita division, which includes that business now, quite structurally to a better shape.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff going on under the hood.
Yeah,
for several years.
Sure,
Yeah. So what do you think about the valuation at the moment?
Well, if we look at next year, we are penciling in a small drop in the earnings from the levels of this and last year, and with that earnings level, it's around P 12 and EBIT around 9. So I would say quite modest valuation, but nothing like radically cheap at that sense. Also, if we compare to peers, they are roughly on those levels. So it's not like there should be a massive increase in the multiples overnight, but that's not restricting the company either. But definitely the key question still is that how I think they have already proven that they are in a better shape, like we talked than 19. But how much better, and how are they able to keep the earnings? Because this year and last year was a quite clear all-time high for Fiskars, and now if they are, I would say, if they are able to get even close next year, like we are forecasting, and then kind of turn to growth from that again, I think the valuation compared to that is quite moderate.
Yeah, so in good shape to meet a weakening market.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for all these comments.
Thank you.